Welcome to the What Really Happened radio show. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to the show today. It is Wednesday, September 10th, 2014, middle of the week, hump day, starting that long, slow glide down to Pauhana Friday. Although it looks to be a very tumultuous weekend coming up, and of course everybody is just all in anticipation over Obama's coming speech regarding the next phase of the war campaign, and we're all waiting with bated breath for him to basically talk about what he's going to talk about. And there's a lot of speculation, a lot of leaking going on as usual. We have much to talk about today. The phone lines are open, 877-300-7645, 877-300-7645. Yes, the phones are working again today, and whatever the technical glitch was that happened yesterday has been resolved by our overworked and underpaid technical room crew. Alrighty, so big question, does Obama plan to announce the bombing of Syria tonight, the eve of the 9/11 anniversary? And it does seem that everybody is just sort of trying to hype this speech to make sure everybody's watching. You will watch De Fuhrer when he comes on there and talks to everybody about the need to go after ISIS, and they're laying it on thick. They're using a snowblower to hurl the bovine excrement around here. Now, there's some dangerous aspects to this whole situation. Obama is apparently telling his compatriots at the White House, members of Congress, that he has all the authority he needs to expand the ongoing endless war. And in point of fact, no, he doesn't. There are strict limits on Obama's ability to use the War Powers Act, and the War Powers Act is invoked only when there is a direct attack on the United States or its interests. Now, we understand that behind all of this facade about terrorism and chemical weapons and biological weapons, the real threat is the ruble and the yuan to the dollar, and the fact that a lot of countries are just fed up with having to use the dollar and they're walking away from it. That's what these wars are really all about. But I don't think that really constitutes a threat to the physical United States as defined underneath the War Powers Act. In any event, there's a time limit on that. And under the Constitution, only Congress can declare war. Obama does not have the legal authority to arbitrarily start bombing in Syria without the permission of Syria's government, without the blessings of the United Nations. He's just out there saying, I have a right and I have the authority, and hoping that you will buy it. And you ought not to be doing that. But Obama is sending signals. He's telegraphing he is going to strike at the Islamic State militants in Syria. Apparently, Iraq is already kind of off the table because the goal, of course, remains war with Syria. That was the goal last year when they were coming out with all this nonsense about Assad gassing his own Alawite supporters with sarin gas right in front of the UN chemical weapons inspectors on the day they arrived, which never made any sense. And it's the goal today with this U.S.-created ISIS and the staged beheading videos that we're all supposed to have our knickers in a twist over. But Obama does not have authority under the Constitution to arbitrarily invade the nation of Syria, especially because Assad does not want him there. Assad understands this is about militarily occupying Syria. It's not about ISIS or any of the other groups. It's just another excuse to go in to Syria. Now, under the United Nations Charter, Article 2, Paragraph 4, all members shall refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state or in any other manner inconsistent with the purposes of the United Nations. Obama does not have the authority to be going into Syria. He doesn't even have the authority to be supporting Kiev against the eastern Ukrainian republics. He's in violation of international law right now. It's the United States that's the warmonger. It's the U.S. government that's gone rogue and is committing international war crimes. And Obama's out there apparently he's adding a God complex to his other psychological problems. And if there was ever a time to invoke the 25th Amendment, now is the time. He's gone not only completely off the constitutional reservation, he's just gone crazy, drunk with power. And you need to understand something about these airstrikes. just like the drone strikes, they will kill hundreds and thousands of innocent bystanders for every one ISIS suspect. We're all supposed to be upset over these staged beheadings of 2 Israeli-American journalists with intelligence connections. At the same time, we're being told, well, all those innocent people being killed, they shouldn't have been standing there. It's all their fault. And something I saw this morning, the corporate media seems to be in a little bit of, shall we say, a bidding war over who can come up with the most positive poll numbers to support the renewal of war. And early today, Fox was out there saying that they had 40% of Americans were in support of this, and then only a couple of hours later they came out with a different poll from a different polling organization that said 2/3 of Americans were in favor of all this, and then CNN just upped the ante by claiming they have a poll that shows 90% of Americans are convinced ISIS is a threat to the United States, justifying military action. And these poll numbers are simply not believable. Obviously, we ran our own poll here. Do you support Obama bombing Syria and Iraq and other nations without congressional approval to get ISIS? And it came back 99% no. But don't take my word for it. Make a point to talk to your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, your fellow students, everybody you meet, and just say, do you agree with this thing? Are you going along with this thing? And find out for yourself how completely bogus these corporate media manufactured polls are, because they're not designed to measure public response. They're trying to manufacture it by telling you that everybody else around you is all hot and bothered to go to war, and in the hopes that you will say, well, all right, I guess that's the right thing to do, relying on the herd instinct, the sheep mentality. But as you follow that flock, you will step in poo. Poo is the approved word that we have to use here on the radio, because although the U.S. government may be torturing innocent people to death to find weapons of mass destruction that never existed, dropping drone strikes on innocent people around the world, we are not allowed to say bad words on the radio to prove that we are a just and moral nation. Article coming out of RINF.com, Obama expands Bush's war machine. Yes, he is. This is a continuation of the policy that Wesley Clark blew the whistle on all those years ago about conquering all the world's resource-rich areas of the planet. That's what it's about, rampant greed. And the need to prop up America's failing financial system with other people's money, other people's wealth. Because that Ponzi scheme central bank has reached the point of collapse, and because that financial sector of the United States got lazy from all this wealth coming in from around the world through the petrodollar deal in Bretton Woods, they've allowed manufacturing to decline, and nobody wants our GMO agriculture. They're dependent on the perpetuation of this scam, and that's why they're willing to go to war. Now, Obama's out there trumpeting how he's got 40 nations ready to go against ISIS. The problem is most of these nations he's claiming are now allies have their own reputations for brutality. Many of them practice beheading as a standard part of their criminal justice system. And we're supposed to ignore that while we throw our children onto the Syrian bayonets over these 2 staged beheadings. And I say throwing our children onto the bayonets. Obama's still out there saying no boots on the ground. He said that about Iraq. We know that's already a lie. Of course he's lying about Syria. The lesson from the war in Vietnam, you cannot win a war from the air. Of course he's planning a ground invasion. The U.S. forces are already training for that. So, anyway, when we come back from this next commercial break, more of the propaganda they're trying to dish out to convince you that this is the only possible course of action. Yes, we've had 11 years of war, and we're tired, and we're broke, and our children have been killed and crippled, but more is on the way, and you have to support it. I don't think so. We'll be right back. Aloha, America. Welcome back to the show, and the corporate media is really laying it on there. This is the pre-show, the pre-game warm-up leading to Obama's declaration of whatever it is he's going to declare, and it's not going to be good. He's going to come on and he's going to do what he does really well, which is make a really good speech and just try and get you riled up and all hot and bothered for more war. We have had 11 years of war. Take a look around the nation. Take a look around your home. Take a look around your town. at the decay, at the poverty, at the closed retail shops. We cannot survive any more war, nor should we have to. The United States, the American people, are not under any kind of a threat from the rest of the world. This is, as always, a war by and for the money junkies, using other people's children to trade their blood for more gold. An illustration of that is this article over at Zero Hedge, saying the ultimate goal of ISIS is Saudi Arabia's oil wells. They're coming to get the oil flow. Oh, my goodness. And this is a lead-in for Obama to say, see, we have to take military control of Saudi Arabia. We just have to. Honest, we have to go in and protect our, the oil lifeline. It's all about grabbing control of the wealth, because I'm sure there's a lot of people here in our financial sectors who are saying, hey, it's our oil. Why should we share the wealth just with the people who just happen to be living over it anyway, right? Certainly Israel would be very happy to see the political influence that Saudi Arabia's billions invested in this country buys them go away. It's been a major problem for Israel. Israel's taking billions of dollars out of the U.S. Saudi Arabia's putting billions in. And Israel's goal is to have the U.S. government listen to Israel and not Saudi Arabia. Now, as I mentioned before here, this is a story over in the Huffington Post. As Obama continues to promise no more boots on the ground, the U.S. military is training for exactly that scenario. They're thrashing around here. I mean, take a look back at the last 5 years of Obama's foreign policy. I mean, we already know his domestic policy has been a train wreck, whether it's Obamacare or immigration or Fast and Furious or fiscal stimulus. It's a disaster. But look at his foreign policy. Why should we listen to this man any longer? He's going to get up there and say, well, we need more of your money and we need more of your children, and you're just going to have to go along with that. And I don't think so. All right, we're going to take a phone